morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we are back with more very big news on the Pokemon trading card game. And yes, I know we've had a bunch of big news very recently. I know that just earlier today, I showed you the reveal of Ruler of the Black Flame with that Terra-type Darkness Charizard. Well, we're back with more Tera Pokemon. But there are two very, very important things that I think we can talk about in regards to these. What we are talking about is the one we knew that was coming, that is the Lightning-type Tyranitar, which is literally on the booster pack, and the one we kind of knew was coming, which is the Eiscue. Now, when I say we kind of knew it was coming, in one of the blurbs, like officially when Obsidian Flames was revealed, we were told there would be a type-shifted Tera Eiscue. That was official, we were told that. What we weren't told is what type it would end up being. Well, now we know it's a fire type. But before we get into exactly what they do, there are a couple of really important things that I've noticed about these cards. Now, firstly, and we kind of knew this from the product description previously, there are way more Tera Pokemon than we would usually expect. There are a lot of Tera Pokemon. Like a weirdly large amount of Tera Pokemon here. Because you see, we've had one per set. Like really strictly one per set up to now. So in Scarlet and Violet, we had Arcanine and Gyarados. 2 sets over in Japan, admittedly a double set, but still 2 sets, 2 individual sets you mash together into a double set, and we had 2 Tera Pokemon. Now over in Paldea Evolved, we do actually get Shock Horror free Tera EXs. We've got ourselves Tera Fortress, we've got ourselves Tera Dedenne, and we got ourselves Tera Slowking. But of course, this was made up of Triple Beat, Snow Hazard, and Clayburst, so there were 3 Japanese sets. There have been, not including Pokemon Card 151, that's a special set, it's playing by its own rules, we have had 5 sets, each of which has had exactly 1 Tera Pokemon in. Even if we count them as double sets, that's still only 2, 1 in each half. We've already seen 3 now. We've seen Charizard, we've seen Tyranitar, and we have seen Eiscue. And we know Vespiquen is coming, incidentally. Like, it's already been confirmed Vespiquen's coming. That's 4 in 1 set. Up to now, Tera Pokemon have been very strictly 1 per set. Here, no. That is not happening. The other thing, which are, also they're type shifted and all of that, we know all of that. The other thing that's really interesting, if we look at these 3 Pokemon, it is all coloured energy. We've seen 3 of these now, and not one of them has a single colourless energy in its attack cost at all. And I have a theory about this. Because, of course, Eiscue is a fire-type Pokemon, ergo, it is able to use Magma Basin. That stadium card that accelerates energy to fire Pokemon. It's pointless because it only uses water energy, but it is at least able to use it. Tyranitar is a lightning Pokemon, so that can use Electric Generator to accelerate lightning energy to it. That is not how these cards have been designed. So I believe, and this is just a theory based off the 3 we've seen so far, nothing more than that, but I think these are very deliberately not colourless energy so that they can be controlled a little bit more. Because, of course, these are Pokemon that give you an advantage because they are attacking for the quote-unquote wrong energy. And I think if they could use the energy acceleration of their shifted type, some of these might end up being a little bit silly. So that's my theory, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see if it holds true as we go forward. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the better of the 2 here is Eiscue. I like Eiscue very, very much indeed. I don't dislike Tyranitar. Tyranitar's cool, but I really like... it's a stage 2. I like them both, actually. But I want to start with Eiscue. I love me some Eiscue. So, we're pretty standard, 210 HP, all of that. And for free water energy, you do 160, you discard an energy from this Pokemon, and the defending Pokemon can't attack during your next turn. And all they have to do is switch out the active. But they have to actually switch out of the active, and that's what I really like here. This is why I like Eiscue. Well, no, it's one of the reasons I like Eiscue. Because essentially you put your opponent in a really awkward position whereby in order to attack, they have to get out of the active and then back into the active, and that's just a little bit of a pain. I've said many times on this channel, if you cannot get a one-hit KO, and we are in a format moving into where one-hit KOs are much rarer, get a two-hit KO with Disruption. That's what we're going for here. Make your opponent have to get out the active and back in before you're even allowed to attack. There we go. But there is a much bigger reason I like this, and it's because of Baxcalibur. You see, Baxcalibur is not limited in the way the energy acceleration I told you about earlier is. The ability Super Cold says, as often as you like during your turn, you may attach a basic water energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. And it doesn't matter whether they're active or benched, but crucially, it doesn't matter what type they are. And what is amazing about Eiscue, it is a fire-type Pokemon that attacks for water-type energy, and it works with Baxcalibur. And people are going to be playing Baxcalibur Chen-Pao anyway. That seems to be at least a top-tier deck at the moment. Eiscue is a basic Pokemon. It is a one-card tech. It is one of your 60 cards. You don't have to evolve into it. You don't have to muck around with energy. And now all of a sudden you've got a fire-type attacker. And stopping your opponent attacking could actually be quite useful, and maybe you'll use that here and there. But I actually think by far, a lot of the time, by far the most useful part here is going to be the fact that all of a sudden you have got yourself a Pokemon which can fit into this deck nicely, that is using the water energy that you're already accelerating really easily, and now you get to hit fire weakness as well as water weakness. This is brilliant, ladies and gentlemen. Genuinely, absolutely brilliant. In the same way that we genuinely over in Japan actually saw Surfing Pikachu see some play and success, because it was, again, it's a whole type shifting thing. It's the fact that that was a lightning Pokemon, but it attached for water energy, and it didn't really see any play or success in the West, which made me a little bit sad, but there were some genuine big tournaments over in Japan, or at least decent-sized tournaments, where this card actually showed up and did well. This could be the same thing here. If you're playing Chen-Pao, you only have to put a single card into your deck, and now all of a sudden you've got a fire-type attacker hitting for fire-type weakness. Make no mistake about it, if there is anything that is metal or grass or anything vaguely relevant that is weak to fire, these water decks around at the moment are going to want to play this. This is absolutely brilliant. I should mention translations from me, but I have checked with the lovely Antoine Boulet, just to make sure I've not done a silly. But as well as Eiscue, we also have Tyranitar here. Although I should mention we also have the pre-evolutions, which we can mention very quickly here as well. Now obviously the Larvitar here, you don't need much of a translation. It's fine. It's got 70 HP and a single energy attack. That's all right. The Larvitar here, we've got 60 damage for 2 energy, and it does 20 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It's terrible. You're never going to use it. Don't worry about it. What we are way more worried about here is Tyranitar. And look, I've told you this before. I'm going to tell you this again. It is a Stage 2 Pokemon. We are still not in a format where it's particularly great for Stage 2s. However, there are a couple of Stage 2s that are doing all right at the moment, so maybe Stage 2s could end up being good. And this one has got a real chance. Because you see, what we've got is 340 HP, which incidentally is tied for the most amount of HP we've ever seen in the game. We have not seen, and again, if I'm wrong about this, correct me in the comment section, but I'm having a good old think here. I cannot think of any Pokemon we have ever had in the Pokemon TCG that's got a natural HP of more than 340. This is absolutely gigantic. Not only that, But we've also got here single energy, 120 damage. Now, you do have to discard the top 2 cards of your deck, which is, it's not ideal, let's be honest with you, because most of the time you'd rather not, but it's single energy 120, and if you're hitting for weakness, this is absolutely great. With a choice belt, you're getting a one-hit KO on Lugia V-Star. Single energy, one-hit KO on Lugia V-Star. And it needs to be borne in mind that Lugia is resistant to fighting. So if you were playing a normal fighting Pokemon, what would happen here is that you would be resisted and you'd be really struggling to KO it. You're still using fighting energy here, but you're a lightning Pokemon, so single energy with a choice belt, one-hit KO on Lugia V-Star. That's kind of redonkulous. Obviously, it's just a straight one-hit KO on Lugia V. And we could do the same thing here with Palkia, if you wanted to. Again, KO on the V normally, add a choice belt and you get a one-hit KO on the V-Star. If you're hitting for weakness, this first attack is phenomenal. If you're not hitting for weakness, it's okay, it's still single energy 120, but obviously on a stage 2 it becomes a bit more awkward. With weakness, phenomenal. Without weakness, fine. But I really need to stress the fact that the weakness here is way more important than normal, because this isn't a lightning deck hitting for lightning weakness. This is a fighting deck hitting for lightning weakness, and that is a very different proposition indeed. As for the second attack here, 2 fighting energy, 150. If any of your bench Pokemon have any damage counters on them, this attack does 100 more damage. We've seen this. We've seen this going back to Drampa GX. That was the first time I remember an attack like this. And I was like, wait, so any of your bench Pokemon have any damage? Yeah, that's actually how it worked. So, it's fine. It's alright. I mean, to be fair, 2 energy, 250 is not fine, it's good. And again, choice belt hits 280, that's the magic number for Pokemon V-Star. Bearing in mind you've got 340 HP, which is absolutely gigantic. So yeah, once again, very much like we said with Charizard earlier today, this is a stage 2, and that's super awkward. But the HP is gigantic. The first attack is great if you're hitting for weakness. And the second attack is generally just great, and it doesn't really matter whether you're hitting for weakness or not, honestly. And it's only 2 energy, it's not exactly particularly expensive. I really like this one. But it's a stage 2. I'm going to tentatively give this 4 Wossies, knowing that it could be kind of awkward. I'm going to give Eiscue, actually, between 4 and 5 Wossies. We don't give half Wossies, that would be barbaric. In any format we have for a while now, if any grass or metal or otherwise fire-weak Pokemon end up being even remotely good, expect Eiscue to become an absolute staple in Chen Pao and Baxcalibur decks, because actually, it's a single-card tech, it's really easy to fit in, and it can completely swing some matchups. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, this is really very good. Both of these are good. And Charizard seemed kind of good. And we've seen 3, and I think they all have a lot of potential. And I'm starting to get really excited about these type-shifted Tera X's. I can't tell you they're going to be great, again, because 2 of them are stage 2s. But in terms of how interesting they are and the potential that they have, I think we're 3 for 3, and that's kind of awesome. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Mary Sanders Lazenby, who's been a supporter of ours for quite a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for all the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.